Hello everybody, my name is Nyree and I'm going to take you through what I see as the ultimate guide for pre-adoption. So if you're thinking about adoption and you're not really sure what's involved, or you've started the process but you don't really know how to get going with it, in the sense that you don't know how to prepare very well, then this video is really going to help you. I've got 2 adopted sons myself, and if you've not found me before, then I really appreciate you subscribing. The first thing that you're going to need to do in whatever country that you're in is decide what agency or professional is going to be a good fit for you. So you're going to need to research who are the adoption people around you that run the agencies, that have the information, and you're going to do that in the background. You know, you're not going to put yourself forward at this stage. Try to work out who you think you're going to click with the best. The next thing you're going to do, which isn't relevant for the UK where I am because we don't really have fees, is work out the exact cost for you and what's that's going to cost you in a sense of time off work. So even in the UK, obviously we have to face that, is if we're going to take a year off, what's that going to be as a cost to the family? So you're going to need to sit down and do that, because that's not something that you want a social worker to challenge you on later. Now you're going to be thinking about whether you want a baby, preschooler, toddler, what you really think is going to fit with your family. Now, many people do think of babies first for adoption, but actually there are a lot of children that are older than that. So do a little bit of research on what the pros and cons are of a much younger child and an older child. I do have videos on my channel where you can have a look at those issues if you want to. No man is an island. I'm sure you've heard that. You cannot do adoption on your own. It's not something that even as a couple you can do on your own. You need some sort of network to support you, and it's a really good exercise to do that now. Are there going to be enough people in your life that can help you do this, can support you in all the different ways that you need to do this? If the answer to that is no, then get yourself out there now and try to build a network of, you know, friends and relatives that can be there for you. In our country, we have mostly closed adoptions. In other countries, there's more option to have an open adoption. Have a look into what that really means in your country, and think about what type of person are you and what type of adoption do you think is going to be suitable for you. Ask those questions now and wrestle with some of the issues that open and closed adoption absolutely brings for you and for the birth family. In our country, many of the adoptions result of children being taken into care through abuse and neglect. In your country, it may be different, but I still think it's important for you to understand the effects of neglect and abuse on the child, and understand what the categories of abuse are and what a child may have gone through. These are the hard things to face, but these are the things that maybe make it easier later to make decisions about what child is going to be right for you as well, to make decisions about what levels of abuse you feel that you can cope with. And so it's really important to know how you feel about these things now. There's also other things to consider around the adoption, and that is whether you think foster to adopt or traditional adoption could be right for you. So foster to adopt is a little bit more risky in the sense that the child has not yet been released for adoption, but may allow you to have a child much earlier, and may mean that the child has not had so many moves. So have a look into that as well, as to whether you feel you're right for one or you're right for the other. All this can be done before really you even pick up the phone, if you want to do it that way. In the early days, purchase a journal or diary to log all your thoughts and feelings as you're going along, because adoption, the process, is very much a journey of discovery and development for you. You will be a very different person at the end of the adoption process before you receive the child than you were at the beginning. And if you log all that, you'll be able to see that change, and you will be able to show that change to professionals who are looking to see if you've reflected on certain things that they want you to reflect on. Now it's really good and really important, I think, to think about what you are going to offer a child. Now, in some countries, this is going to need to be done anyway, quite early on, where you're going to put together your profile. But in every country, you're going to need to put together some sort of profile of who you are and what you offer to a child. And actually, the bottom line is why you want to adopt. nobody wants to see somebody adopting for purely selfish reasons. So there has to be an understanding from the professionals looking at you as to why you actually want to adopt. And as you are reflecting on who you are and what you can offer to a child and writing that down, those things will become clear to you. Many adopters have health issues. It doesn't negate you from adopting, but it might be worth thinking about what they are and whether there's anything you can do about them now before you adopt. So if you know you need to lose weight, then have a plan in place for that. If there are certain health issues that you need to go to the doctor over, then do it early. And the same goes for house preparations. There's no point in a social worker coming around and you're in the middle of decorating or doing some major renovations. So try to think about those things and get them out of the way before the adoption process truly takes place. If you want to go deeper, even before you've started the process, you can do. So suggestions for that would be to do proper safety checks on your house as if you were thinking about having a child in there, and finding some lists somewhere that give you some ideas about how to do that. I do have a home visit video on my channel, but there will be lists out there of different checks that you can do on your house, and go through the house as if you were a potential social worker and think about what would need to change. Lots of people have misconceptions about adoption and foster care, and that will include family and friends. So as things grow deeper, you will become quite good at understanding adoption, but that doesn't mean to say your family and friends will have a clue. And so it's really useful for you to write down a few things around adoption and share that with family and friends so that they understand what the adoption process looks like and what types of things you're likely to encounter, and that will get them prepared, ready for later on too. If you know that you really want to have a baby, or you want to have a toddler or an older child, then start thinking about what that child is going to play with and how you're going to get that stuff in. So make a list of the types of resources that you're going to need for them. Also make a list of what you're going to need to do to the bedroom to change it, and also a list of the types of clothing and how much you're going to need. You don't necessarily need to go out and buy anything yet, and I guess if you've not started the adoption process you might not feel like doing that, but you can still make those lists. And you have to be really positive about going for the adoption process. If you've checked off things that you know that your country or locality have asked of you, the spare bedroom, certain things that are required of you, certain age, and you know that you've ticked all those boxes, then you need to go into this positively. So there's no reason why you can't make lists of things that you're going to need to buy. You need to be thinking about later as well, when that child comes, and how you're going to cope. So think about who is going to do the chores. So if you're a couple, who is going to be doing what, and whether you're going to need extra help into the house to do that. And also consider who will be the close family and friends that are really going to be those that you lean on in those early days. And if you can't think of anybody, you need to start thinking about who that's going to be, because you're not going to be able to do it on your own, either as a couple or a single person. Also, you're going to be thinking about what you're going to do with this child in the early days if they're really young. Where are the trips going to be? Where are the places to go that you're going to go with your child? Where do people meet with children? Your other children, if you have them, or your pets, will need attention, and you may not be able to give it in the early days. So think about how they're going to get not neglected, and who is going to give them that extra attention and time. Might seem a bit far in advance, but what do you like cooking? What's easy to cook? What recipes do you know you like? And recipes that are going to be easy to share with someone that might come in and support and help you with the cooking, or you might actually do in advance. What are they, and how are you going to get the stuff in to do that? So you're going to want to think about purchasing a scrapbook or album to record everything that happens from day one when your child comes, so you can get that in. And you might want to practice questions that you're going to be asked if you have a panel situation or an approval situation like we do in the UK, or you have to kind of jump through a few hoops. Then practice those types of questions that you think you might be asked in front of family and friends in advance. Even if you don't know what the questions are, you can still practice what you think you may be asked. Sometimes adoption can be a very hot subject. It can be something that raises lots of issues for people. So think about who are going to be your non-judgmental friends that can be there for you when you're struggling and having problems, because some adopters do have problems post-adoption, and it's worth saying now that you need those people that you can trust to go to, and also that you would need to build in a break within the first 3 months of adoption. Who's going to be that person that's going to be there for you? Now, pretty much all of this can be done before you even start the adoption process, and I do believe that if you did put a lot of this into place, then there would be a lot less worries through the process. So I hope you find that helpful. Check out my channel, lots of playlists on there, some about adoption process, attachment, parenting, adoption topics. It's all on there. So look forward to seeing you again on my next video. Thank you.